A very warm good morning to everybody. Today we are going to discuss one another article that has appeared on the Kathmandu Post. Here is the date February 21, 2026. Now let's move on to the second page and let's go through the article. Here it is. 9 vultures died after feeding on poison dog carcass in Kapilvastu. As we know, Kapilvastu falls under Lumini province is the safest zone, is one of the safest zone for vultures, for critically injured vultures. 9 were died altogether. Among them 4 were from white ramped vultures. Those vultures are critically injured. Only approximately 2000 population are there of white ramped vulture in Nepal, and it also found in some parts of India, but Kapil Vastu and Nepal is the safest zone. Nepal being safest zone for white ramped vultures, and among those deceased, 5 were from Himalayan griffon vultures. That is not as extent as white ram vultures because their number are in they are in large numbers in Nepal. Approximately 10,000 or more than 10,000 are there in Nepal, Himalayan griffon vultures. But these species are at the verge of extinct. Look at this picture. Two vultures are dying. They are lying on the road, on the ground. This is the picture. This is a distressing news, I would say. This article is saying that those died vultures consumed meat, a decaying meat of a dog that was poisoned earlier. Let me tell you what might have happened. A dog might have been poisoned by the people over there because of that dog is that dog might have gone insane, or something might have happened. Okay, and later on eventually that dog died and their body started decaying. And as you know, the vultures are scavengers. They search their food by flying in the sky 3,300 meters in sky. Okay, so they might have started searching for food, and they come across that decaying body of that poison dog, and eventually they started eating, and that led to the death of all those 9 vultures. Those 9 are not only affected, they are died, but 3 more are affected. They are languishing with their health in the forest, this report is saying. So that body was lying on the bank of the Banganga river. Okay, it is in Kapil Bastu. So let me tell you, here you can find in Nepal, Himalayan griffon have been the most affected by carcass poisoning. Let me tell you, before 1990s, the the numbers of vultures in Nepal and in India were huge. We people who, if we ask our forefathers, they would say they have seen vultures continuously in their lives. But today, rarely people are seeing vultures. I have never seen vulture in my entire life. I'm 26, but still I have not seen any vultures in my life. So what happened after 1990s is that because of the rapid expansion in veterinary, previously veterinary was not expanded too much, and whenever cattle were died or livestock died, they were not infected by the poisons, and vultures started eating those decaying food, decaying meat, and that's how their population were increasing. But after 1990s, when veterinary rapid started expanding rapidly, those started getting so many drugs, so many uh, poison, or so many medicines to prevent their disease, prevent livestock malnutrition. And later on it was good for cattle, livestock. But what has happened when they started dying, and they started being consumed, their body started being consumed by the vultures. Vultures started reducing, their population started being swayed away by the death, and it was never looked upon. It was always, you know, it was always found insignificant by the scientists, by the people, because we people always tend to believe whenever something is ominous, we must not get into touch of that ominous thing. We must always found a spacious day or a spacious things. Look at our custom, our conventional way of life. We say whenever we wake up in the in the early morning, we must say auspicious words. We must utter auspicious words. We pray to the God, but we never come into miss, we must come into touch with any ominous things, and we always categorize vultures as ominous birds. Why? Because they always roam around, decaying meat, decaying food, carcass or deceased bodies. We find those birds are ominous, but we always forget that they are the, they are the sanitization of the nature. They clean the environment rapidly. They clean the environment and protects us from being infected, or protects our animal being infected. After 1990s, tuberculosis, corolla, or what would you say, rabies started increasing. The reports of rabies, the incident of rabies, TB started increasing, because they started transmitting into the animals, and later on eventually into the humans, because carcass was were laying on the roads. They are decaying for years, and nobody is there to bury them into the ground, right? And because of the lack of population of vultures, vultures have a very unique, what to say, very unique stomach. They have very high acidic stomach. In their stomach, is in acid is very high, and they can digest anything that has affected with pathogens, or they can even digest bones that is very hard to consume. They can eat, and they can digest those bones as well. If we look at Africa nowadays, in Africa too, vultures number are decreasing drastically. Look at those animals, those predators. Let me tell you, vultures is not a predator. It only eat those foods, those bodies which are already died, whatever the reason may be, but it is only attracted to the decaying bodies, which are very good for humans, because here you can find on the screen. Look at this number. Look at this number. It is saying there is a community, South African Development Community, SADC, that once reported that 1.8 billion dollar of amount is being saved annually by the vultures, because we are not cleaning or burying the deceased body or carcasses, and they are cleaning, they are eating. So this is the thing. 1.8 billion of earth in dollar is being saved annually in the world. And Nepal is the safest zone. Nepal is the safest, uh, habitats for critically injured, critically endangered vultures. Here you can find this is one of the distressing news. Between it is saying between here, it is saying between 2011 and 2023-24, vultures from 7 species were found dead due to poisoning across 22 locations in Nepal. This is a distressing news, I would say, because whenever vultures are poisoned or whenever they are died, we neglect who will protect our ecological, be it a small animal or be it a gigantic animal. They all are essential for our nature because they all contribute a bit by bit to maintain the ecological balance in the nature. So this is what this article is talking. Let me tell you one another thing. What would be the straightforward, what would be the mitigation process to maintain or to prevent the death of the vultures? That would be ornithologist. Ornithologist must provide a specific zone or a specific food, I would say, that are not poisoned, that are not, you know, uh, that are not poisoned anymore, and then only these vultures can eat, and they can also live and breed. Yes, and breeding is one of the most essential part. There must be a breeding location where vultures go and breed safely. Breeding location must be allocated for the birds, for the vultures especially. And we people must not always follow our traditional way of life. We must also you know take into consideration that all the people, all the animals have the exact or the same right which the people have to live, to express, to go anywhere. Then only we can do anything. It is our sanitization of the nature. It cleans our nature and prevent disease, prevent the transmission of anthrax. Anthrax is a chronic disease that first transmit to animals and later eventually it affects a human as well. So this is the heroes. These are the heroes. Vultures are the heroes of the nature. They clean it and they do not kill any other animal. They are not predators. They are the just scavenger. They just eat decaying meat or decaying body. So we must, protect our vultures and always be a pioneer in protecting our livestock, protecting our animal birds, because in Nepal has a greatest strength. Nepal has the greatest strength to protect endangered species like white ramped vultures, and Nepal is the first safe zone for vultures. So we must protect our status being first safest zone in the world to protect our vultures. And that's how we are regarded by the NGOs or United Nations and or other ecological community. So that's all I would say. Thank you for listening and bye.